yourself! Welcome back, you filthy exiles, and we have another build here. So pretty much I settled up, and I was like, well, I want to try and get Smith the Kitava working with shield build with a shield setup, and it actually does work disgustingly well. So some of the stats here, we have a good amount of armor. We do get all the advantages from having like all the bonuses on the armor set, so that is a big plus in the increased regeneration. Gets us to 470 per second. So I pretty much just walk through T16 maps now. I don't really take very much damage. I did have to hedge and use constricted command. It's just too good of an item to not use at this stage. Like, you could play this build without it, but the damage profile is going to drop off. For those who are like, oh, you're not one-hitting everything. Number one, I have a huge issue with the whole one-hitting concept because I think it's stupid as hell to be able to one-hit Uber Boss. But for those of you looking to do that, Atali's Bloodletting will double your DPS on this build. So you one-hit everything. It's 12 div. I haven't got one. So if you want to do that, you just literally have to switch one jewel out in your shield wall, and you commence the one hitting, right? Now, pretty much what I found with this build is crisscrossing the shields like this does the biggest amount of damage for some reason. And it's probably because there's a fair bit more like crossover shrapnel that hits the boss. The other thing too is I've got this set up so you need to resonate your shield to basically break the enemy's armor, which you can do with like 4 to 6 hits tops. So you just walk in, you pop it, you then hit this, and then you go boom. And then you can pretty much face tank most things with this build and setup. So it's quite strong. Pretty much outside of that, that's the only thing that you need to know about combinations. We're obviously running Fortifying Cry, and Fortifying Cry amps up the damage output from the explosion, not the shield walls themselves. And that's basically it. We then use the Blood Chain setup with Herald of Blood, and then basically have the whole Perpetual Blood thing. We'll talk about that shortly. And also Wind Dancer, we do this on. We have Magma Barrier on this too, which gives us increased damage. I do have Bleed Force, so we do apply Incision, I believe, and we use Tear. I don't necessarily know if this is having an enormous impact as much as I think it is, but I'm going to go with Placebo Effect. We can't run our Plague Harvester here, unfortunately, which would be nice if we could, but yeah, it's too much spirit cost, but it's here anyway. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, the build is like relatively simple to put together. Leveling was pretty much a breeze. I haven't included a leveling guide because it's pretty easy. You just pretty much level with Bone Shatter, and then as soon as you can switch to Shield Wall, you do it, and you're laughing. And then really you just have to get a better and better shield, and by the time you get to the end of the campaign, you probably have like 550 armor shield, and you just basically blow everything up in the campaign. So it's not very hard to level it up. Outside of that, that's it. So in the description below will be the POB and everything. But anyway, let's jump into the video and talk about all the gear and everything else that I've done to set this build up. Okay, so from the gearing side, we're obviously running constricted command or constricting command. And that means that we can take full advantage of these points here. And to be honest with you, like, I would rather not run it, but it's just, yeah, while like everything is very gear centric and the tree is a bit weaker, it's just too good of an item. Like things like this, I'm starting to think like shouldn't be in the game, and it should just be baked into the overall scaling on the pathing tree. But anyway, it is what it is at this stage. So the next thing we have a just a normal white tier ornate plate, and that's because of the ascendancy that we run, which is Smith at Kitava. And then obviously we take advantage of this Smith Masterworks, which means we need to have normal armor, body armor to be able to make that work. My weapon is pretty much gain like global damage as extra physical damage. We have +5 to skills as well, and skill speed, which is quite important. And then basically we have 25% chance to gain onslaught on killing hits with this weapon. That really doesn't do anything unless we actually kill with that weapon, which is a pretty useless stat, to be honest with you. But as an overall, this is like a 2-div mace. You can get way better maces, to be honest with you, but this one does the job. Why don't I want to go and get Giant's Blood? Because my life pool will drop too low, and I want to stay above 3,000. Ideally, get it to 4,000. Amulet, 45 Spirit, +3 to all melee, damage recoup, and rarity. By the way, I have about 100 to 110% rarity on this build, so that's quite good, with Anoint being acceleration. My shield, I managed to craft in and get a 1.3k or nearly 1.4k shield. Do have life gain on block, which is really useful, and your heavy stun build-up empties 40% faster, which is really useful. It means I can keep my resonating shield up pretty much all the time almost. And I have increased stun threshold. So these are all good stats to have on this. You can get other stats like, you know, armor applies to elemental damage, but I've got that on pretty much everything else, and that's already quite a high number. Rings, pretty much rarity, resistances, life, that's basically it, and any flat damage you can get. This ring is actually, it's okay. I got a lot of rarity on it. I'm just checking to see what my rarity's at. Yeah, 110%, which is pretty good. Gloves, again, armor applies to elemental damage. I've got magnitude of ailments because I do use bleed, so I have that as the socketed rune as well. And then basically I have increased armor break on the corruption, which is just lucky, but basically you just want a lot of life, any resistances you need. Armor that applies to elemental, and then magnitude of ailments. Belt, again, life regeneration, armor, strength, resistance, health. That's basically it. And I was using trample toes, but I found trample toes inhibits the bleed blow when you're walking through maps. So instead, I've just got these 30% movement speed boots, gives me a ton of life, stun threshold as well, which is really important on this, and then more rarity, so just stacking more rarity. And then I run a golden charm and a silver charm as well. And that's basically it. My flask is actually really crap, so that can be upgraded next. We can probably chuck on some unique flasks and stuff like that. But as an overall, like, this setup, is it expensive? Not really. The shield, yeah, it'll set you back like a div. The helm, obviously, that's where the currency is. The chest, yeah, it's not really, you can get them to drop. Mace is 2 div. Yeah, it's not like cray level expense to set this one up. Okay, skill gem setup. So we ignore Mace Strike, we ignore Raise Shield. We don't need to worry about any of this. On Fortifying Cry, we run Magnified Effect 1, Heft, Concentrated Area, Heavy Swings, and Close Combat 2. Resonating Shield, we're running Rapid Attacks, Heavy Swing, Rage 3, Heft, and Brutality 3. Shield Wall, we run Bleed 3, Heft, Heavy Swings, Magnified Area, and Brutality. Herald of Blood, we're running Poison 3, Bleed 3, Armor Break 3, Bursting Plague, and Overage. This is the Bleed Poison Chain mechanic. And then Wind Dancer, we run Bleed 3, Poison 3, Corrosion, Bursting Plague, and Magnified Area 1. Magma Barrier, I'm just testing out Charge Profusion 1, Fiery Death for exploding enemies. Tear, which we're trying to take advantage of some of the bleed effect, but I'm not sure if this actually works very well or at all. Magnified Area and Bleed 4, so we can do Incision, but again, not entirely sure if this is working the way I think it's working. Then we use Scavenge Plating with Physical Mastery, Prolonged Duration, and Vitality 1, which gets us to a good amount of generation. Okay, so for the pathing tree, first of all, you want to come down and you want to grab the increased strength, the increased tantalum alloy, and then leather bindings. This gives you good amounts of regen, and it gives you tons of fire res early on. Then our second ascendancy, we go Coal Stoker. This takes advantage of the tantalum alloy, and then basically we want Dedication to Kitava, which means armor applies to chaos. We want Molten Symbol, we want Support Straps, and we want Kitavan Engravings, which just increases your overall HP pool really efficiently. And then we come across, we're going to grab Brutal. We want some Dex nodes in here too. Down in a Blade Catcher, and pretty much what we went with, Jules, is just like damage against rares or ailment duration. And then Crushing Verdict, I'm going to grab Lasting Trauma because this gives us increased duration of ailments and whatnot. This is actually going to increase our bleed in 2 levels by level, we at 93. We'll be doing quite a lot of bleed. And then basically Made to Last, you want to come up and grab Greatest Defense. This is going to give you damage based on armor. And then up here, I've got a Controlled Metamorphosis, and you need a medium ring. And then basically we want Prism Guardian, Prism Guard, we want Vengeful Fury, we also want Blood Magic in here. I did also take Bestial Rage and Feral Force nodes as well. I found that these just give you a good amount of damage to scale you up. Projectile Bulwark as well, then in your face, and then Primal Growth gives you better AoE. Then we come back down, we grab the Brutal Strength node, Brute Strength node, down into Battle Trance, into Tempered Defenses. We've got another Ruby, which has increased damage against fully broken armor enemies, bleed, magnitude, and life regeneration rate. Then we grab Frantic Fighter, Tactical Retreat, Favorable Odds, up into Authority. We also want Momentum. This means that we don't get any armor penalties as well, and slowing debuffs don't have as much effect, which is really good. We also grab Iron Reflexes in the Leatherbound Gauntlets, up into Gem Enthusiast with Polymathy, and we just want to try and crank up as much strength as we can. And then we grab Thrill of the Battle and In the Thick of It, and then finally another node up here, which we have some Warcry, cooldown recovery, more regeneration, magnitude of bleed, and damage against fully broken armor enemies. That's basically it for the setup. We don't even have a Heart of the Well in this setup. It's actually quite cheap. And this node here is quite cheap too. Notice we also don't have like plus to any shield wall because they're very expensive gems. If we could throttle it up, we could probably take it over 30. Currently we're sitting at about 28 and the damage just gets absolutely disgusting at that point. But that's it for the skill tree. And that's pretty much it for the build. Like there's nothing really too complicated with how this works. It's just big armor shield equals big damage. And then obviously the upgrade to the new jewel is going to be the go here. So Artuli's Bloodletting is pretty much how we're going to throttle more damage into the build aside from leveling up. But yeah, anyway, if you like this sort of guide, don't forget to let me know in the comments below. I'm looking at doing another build yet, so it's either going to be something with ballista totems, crossbows. Otherwise, I want to do armor break minions and maybe something with spells at some point, just to try some different ascendancies out. But otherwise, let me know in the comments what you want to see me try and put together next. Otherwise, give me some weird combinations and we'll see if we can make it work. But yeah, anyway, until next time, I'll see you guys later on and have a good one.